What you are about to discover will change the way you see the line between healing and harm forever. In our modern world, we place an almost sacred trust in the hands of doctors. We go to them with our hopes, our fears, and our vulnerabilities, believing in their oath to do no harm. This silent pact is the bedrock of medicine. But what happens when that trust is not just broken, but shattered into a million pieces? This is not a story about a simple mistake. This is the story of a dream that became a permanent nightmare, a high-profile case that exposed the dark underbelly of the cosmetic surgery industry, and a verdict so massive it sent shockwaves through the medical community. This is the story of Dr. Christine Brecht and the patient whose life she would change forever. In the world of cosmetic enhancement, clinics are designed to be sanctuaries. They are pristine, calming environments that sell not just procedures, but a promise. The promise of a better, more confident you. Aesthetic rejuvenation and spa in Washington state was no exception. It was the domain of Dr. Christine Brecht, a cosmetic surgeon who presented an image of expertise and artistry. Patients came to her seeking transformation, and one patient, in particular, placed their absolute faith in her hands, agreeing to undergo multiple cosmetic procedures. They saw a healer, a trusted professional who would guide them safely on their journey to self-improvement. But behind the pristine walls of this clinic, a story of profound trust and devastating betrayal was about to unfold. To understand how this dream turned into a catastrophe, we need to look closer. Not at the surgery itself, but at the system that allowed it to happen. The term cosmetic surgeon can be dangerously misleading. It's a title that can be used by doctors from various backgrounds. It is not the same as a board-certified plastic surgeon, a title that requires years of rigorous, specialized surgical training recognized by the American Board of Medical Specialties. This distinction is not just a matter of semantics. It is a critical fault line in patient safety. The patient in this case was later found by experts to be a poor candidate for the very surgeries Dr. Brecht agreed to perform. A series of red flags were allegedly missed or ignored. The foundation for disaster was being laid long before the patient ever entered the operating room. But that was only the beginning. An operating room is a sacred space. It is a place of absolute vulnerability for the patient and absolute responsibility for the surgeon. When a patient goes under anesthesia, they are offering up a level of trust that is almost unparalleled in human experience. They are unconscious, helpless, their future held in the steady hands of the person standing over them with a scalpel. But this is where everything takes a turn. During the procedures, something went horribly wrong. The precise details would later be dissected in a courtroom, but the outcome was catastrophic. The patient did not wake up to the promised new beginning. They woke up to a nightmare. The recovery was not a journey of healing, but a slow, agonizing realization of the extent of the damage. The result was not enhancement. It was permanent, life-altering disfigurement. The promise had been broken. The silent pact had been violated. And what happened next shocked even the experts. When a patient suffers such a devastating outcome, their first recourse is often back to the doctor. But when the answers are not forthcoming, when the damage is too great to be explained away, the only path left is the legal system. A high-stakes malpractice lawsuit was filed against Dr. Christine Brecht and her clinic. This is where the story shifts from the operating room to the courtroom. A new kind of battle began, one fought with medical records, expert testimonies, and legal arguments. The patient's legal team began to systematically deconstruct the case, peeling back the layers of what had happened. They argued that Dr. Brecht not only performed the surgeries negligently, but that she never should have performed them in the first place on a patient who was not a suitable candidate. They painted a picture of a profound failure of medical judgment. This is the point where the story becomes unbelievable. As the trial progressed, deeper questions about Dr. Brecht's credentials and practices were brought into the light. The case was no longer just about one botched surgery. It became an examination of a system that could allow such a tragedy to occur. The jury listened intently as the evidence mounted. They heard the expert opinions. They saw the devastating, permanent consequences of the procedures. They were tasked with putting a price on a life that had been irrevocably damaged. This was the climax. The culmination of months of legal battle, years of suffering, and a lifetime of pain. After all the evidence was presented, after all the arguments were made, the jury went to deliberate. And when they returned, they delivered a verdict that was nothing short of an earthquake. They found Dr. Christine Brecht and her clinic liable, and they awarded the patient a staggering $13 million. It was one of the largest malpractice verdicts of its kind. It was a number that screamed injustice, a figure that represented the sheer scale of the harm that had been done. But the story doesn't end there. The verdict sent a clear signal, but the consequences for Dr. Brecht were about to become even more severe. The Washington Medical Commission, the state body responsible for overseeing doctors and protecting the public, launched its own investigation. The legal verdict was a civil matter. This was about her very right to practice medicine. After reviewing the case, the commission took decisive action. They suspended Dr. Christine Brecht's medical license, citing grave concerns about her practices and her credentials. It was the final, devastating blow. The doctor who had built an empire on the promise of beauty had been stripped of her authority to heal, her career left in ruins by a case that would become a landmark in the fight for patient safety. The case of Dr. Christine Brecht serves as a chilling, permanent warning. A reminder that in the multi-billion-dollar industry of cosmetic surgery, the ultimate responsibility for a patient's safety lies not just with the doctor, but with a system of oversight and credentialing that must be held to the highest possible standard. And the truth is, this story isn't finished yet. For every high-profile case that makes the news, countless other stories remain in the shadows, and patients every day continue to navigate the complex, high-stakes world of elective surgery, searching for a promise and hoping to avoid a nightmare.